You are making a mistake if you're turning in your Lincoln pennies for face value. Right now, there's a little loophole that not many people are talking about, and it has nothing to do with melting pennies. It's about stacking copper, saving smart, and understanding how history repeats itself. And I'll prove it to you with real coin sales that happened just this year. Now, here's the deal. Every Lincoln penny before 1982 is 95% copper. And when you stack enough of them, let's say $100 of face value, you're sitting on almost $292 worth of copper. That's right, 3 times the face value. But don't melt them. That's illegal. Just stack them, because one day the melt ban could be lifted and those copper cents could become the next silver dimes or quarters. First of all, we've got a 1909S Lincoln cent coin graded as an MS66 red, and it's not even a VDB variety. The grade is very, very high, and it sold for $3,120. This next one sold for $4,200. It was graded by CAC Grading at a proof 65 red brown. It is from 1916, and it sold for $4,200. Up next, we have a PCGS graded mint state 67 red. This is a 1909 no VDB coin. It sold for $4,560. Then we have a coin that sold for $5,760. It's a 1909 S over S Lincoln cent coin. It's repunched mint mark. PCGS graded it at a mint state 66 plus red, and it sold for $5,760. This next one is a 1914 Denver issued Lincoln cent coin with questionable color, even though it still sold for a lot of money. PCGS graded it as Unk Details. It sold for $9,000. And here we have a 1915 S Lincoln cent coin graded by PCGS at a mint state 65 plus red, and it sold for $13,200. So back in the day, silver coins were just change. A 1964 dime, 10 cents then. Now it's worth $2 to $3. Silver quarters, upwards of $6 to $7. Silver half dollars, over $13 just in melt value. Copper is already on the rise. It's over $4.40 per pound, and some analysts are predicting it could double to meet demand. That would make one copper penny worth 6 cents or more. Now, here's what you should do and what I recommend. Go to your bank, grab a box of pennies, which is $25 of face value. Pull out every copper penny you find. Roll them up and label them as pre-1982 copper pennies. Hold on to them, because you're not just saving pennies, you're actually storing metal. And if you want to flip them now, you can sell rolls of copper pennies online. People are paying 2.5 to 3 times face value. This isn't just hype, this is a long game, and while most people sleep on copper, collectors and stackers are quietly hoarding millions of these little coins, waiting for history to repeat. So next time you see a beat up 1964 penny in your change, don't toss it. That's not just one penny, it's a copper investment. And who knows, one day, maybe your roll of pennies will be worth $50 or more. If you found this helpful, get your free coin and currency ebook down below, guys. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Do not spend this 1911 dime. Now, all of the coins in this video are 100% genuine United States coins. They were designed by Charles E. Barber, who was a U.S. Mint chief engraver. These coins are 90% silver, 10% copper, weighing in at 2.5 grams, diameter of 17.9 millimeters with a reeded edge. Let's go ahead and hop right into this video. With this first coin, it's a 1911 Denver issued coin. You can see that by the large D mint mark on the back bottom center of the coin. This one was graded by NGC at an AU 58, and this 10-cent coin from 1911 sold for $169. Up next, we have a 1911 Denver issued coin. It is a Barber dime once again. PCGS graded this coin at a mint state 66, and it sold for $840. Now, this next coin sold for $5,520, and here is exactly why. Now, before I go into that, make sure you get your free coin and currency ebook down below, guys. You don't want to miss out on any of these rare coins, but the reason why this coin sold for so much money is because PCGS graded it at a mint state 67 plus. This is a very highly graded and highly desirable coin. You also see the toning that's happening, which is the discoloration of the coin caused by the way it was stored. That's either going to increase or decrease the value based upon eye appeal and how the coin looks and what people are ultimately willing to pay. This beautiful coin was able to sell for $5,520, all because of the grade. The higher the grade, the more money it's going to bring in auction. We're moving into some Philadelphia issued coins. You can see you have a Philadelphia issued coin if there is no mint mark on the coin. NGC graded this coin at a mint state 66. This is a very nice looking coin with the toning going on the front and the back. The front doesn't have the best eye appeal in my opinion, but the back does look really nice. This coin sold for $600. Moving right along, 1,560 bucks. This 1911 10-cent Barber dime sold for. PCGS graded it at a mint state 67. This is only 3 points away from the perfect grade of 70, and it sold for 1,560 bucks. Moving right along to the next coin here, $6,300. This 1911 10-cent Barber dime sold for. It is a Philadelphia issued coin graded by PCGS at a mint state 68. This is a very high grade with some extreme toning going on. Once again, $6,300. We are moving into proof coins. So this 1911 10-cent Barber dime is a proof coin graded by NGC at a proof 67, and this one sold for $3,360. Here we have a 1911 10-cent Barber dime graded by PCGS at a proof 68, and it sold for $3,600. Alright guys, $19,975 for this 1911 10-cent Barber dime graded by NGC at a proof 69 star. So if you didn't know, Barber dimes were produced from 1892 to 1916, and they were named after the designer and not Lady Liberty, who is on the front of these coins. Now the reason why this coin sold for so much money is because 1, the grade is incredibly high. It's only 1 point away from the perfect grade of 70. 2, it's got a star designation given by NGC, which just means a coin has exceptional eye appeal, and that is why this coin sold for $19,975 bucks. Alright, moving on to San Francisco issued coins. You can see that by the S mint mark on the back bottom center of the coin. This one got graded by NGC at an AU55, and it sold for $119. $780 for this 1911 S Barber dime. This is a 10-cent coin graded by PCGS at a mint state 64, and it sold for $780. We do hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to get your free coin and currency ebook down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Stop, please. Don't spend any of the 1938 quarters you see in this video because they're selling online for lots of money. Let's go ahead and start off with this 1938 25-cent Washington quarter that was graded by PCGS at a mint state 65. Do understand that 70 is the highest grade, and this one sold for $79. Here we have another one that is a Philadelphia issued no mint mark 1938 25-cent Washington quarter. This one was graded by PCGS at a mint state 67. Remember, most of the time, if your coin has no mint mark, that means it was issued at the Philadelphia Mint, and because this one got graded higher, it sold for $312. That's right guys, $8,700 this 1938 quarter sold for. PCGS graded this one at a mint state 68. It's really important to understand that the grade really does matter. The likelihood of you having a very rare coin is slim to none. However, if you do have one, you want to make sure you contact a rare coin expert, whether that's online like me or finding someone in person. Now the first thing that you should do is get our free coin and currency ebook down below, but the reason why this one sold for $8,700 is because of the grade. Now moving right along into a proof coin, 1938 Washington quarter. This one was graded by NGC at a proof 67 plus. There was a mintage of only 8,045 of these coins. Remember, the metal composition of these coins is 90% silver, 10% copper. They weigh 6.25 grams. Personally, I think these coins are undervalued. Only 8,045 of them ever produced. This one sold for $630 bucks. This next one is a 1938 25-cent Washington quarter graded by PCGS at a proof 68, so even higher of a grade there. Very nice coin. You got some nice rainbow toning going on. This one sold for $6,600, and we are moving right along into the 1938 San Francisco issued coin. This one you can see by that S mint mark on the back bottom center of the coin, and you can also see a bit of bad looking toning going on here that looks like some sort of environmental damage, but it did not impact the grade, so we do know that this is just toning. This coin sold for $372. This next San Francisco issued coin is a NGC graded mint state 67 plus, and this coin sold for $444. Remember, get your free coin and currency ebook down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Do not spend this 1948 nickel. All of them in this video are rare and valuable. Don't spend it because you could be sitting on some good money. Here we have a 1948 Denver issued Jefferson nickel. NGC graded it at a mint state 67. That is a very high grade for this coin. Just understand that 70 is is the highest grade you can achieve. There were nearly 45 million of these coins produced, and this little Jefferson nickel was turned into $97, but this next coin sold for $432, and here's why it sold for so much money. So if you don't know already, the Denver issued mint mark is a D, and that's going to be on the back right hand side of the coin. Now, while we're still on the back of the coin, I want you to pay attention to the center of the coin. There are some steps. Now, those steps on that building are very important. If you can clearly see them and you have a uncirculated coin, then you have a full stepped coin. Now, full step coins can be worth a lot of money. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC don't really care about coins that are below the uncirculated grade. They're not going to give that designation. They'll give it on uncirculated coins like this one. So keep in mind, the previous coin got a 67 grade. This one got a 67 grade, but it has the full step designation, which increases the value tremendously. This coin sold for $432. $1,500 for this coin. It is the same coin, 1948 Denver issued, 5-cent Jefferson nickel. This one did get a 67 grade as well, and it does have the full steps, but it also has a plus sign. The plus sign after the grade means the coin is really, really nice for its grade, but it's not quite the next grade. This coin also has some pretty apparent toning. Toning happens based upon where the coin is stored and the air oxidizing with the metals in the coin, causing a chemical reaction. Toning can sometimes increase the value of the coin depending on eye appeal. This coin's major milestone as to why it sold for so much money is going to be 1, the grade, 2, the full steps, and 3, that plus sign after the grade really does increase the value. Once again, $1,500. Moving on to some Philadelphia issued coins. Here we have a 1948 Jefferson nickel. This is a 5-cent coin graded by PCGS at a mint state 67. Now, the way to tell if you have a Philadelphia issued coin is by looking for a mint mark. If you see no mint mark on the coin, there's a very high probability that you have a Philadelphia issued coin. This one got graded by PCGS at a mint state 67 with no full steps, and it sold for $780. Now, this coin is the same coin, same grade, everything is the same, except this one has a full steps on the back, and it sold for $2,640. So the big thing that we're trying to tell you guys here is that the full step designation really does matter on these coins. So please keep your eyes peeled for the full steps, because that will increase the value of your coin quite significantly. Here we are moving into the San Francisco issued coins. You can see that by the S mint mark on the back right hand side of your coin. 1948 5-cent Jefferson nickel. This one is graded by PCGS at a mint state 66 plus. This is a very nice coin, and it sold for $312. Up next, we have a mint state 67 coin graded by NGC. This is a San Francisco issued coin, and not much to say here, guys. I mean, the previous coin was a full step coin, and it was a plus sign after that grade there. This one, because it doesn't have much going on with it, no full steps, it sold for $84. This next coin, guys, is a 1948 San Francisco issued 5-cent Jefferson nickel graded by PCGS at a mint state 67 with the full steps, and it sold for $690. So guys, please look out for the full steps on your 1948 Jefferson nickels, because that is where the value is really going to be. We do hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to get your free coin and currency ebook down below, and we will see you guys in the next one. Do not spend this 1972 cent. This first coin is a Denver issued coin. You know that by looking at the D mint mark below the date. Now, these coins can be very rare and very valuable depending on a few things we're going to go over in this video. This first coin was graded by a company called PCGS at a mint state 66. Now 70 is the highest grade, and someone was able to turn a penny into $39. Now, this next coin sold for $204. It is the same coin as the previous one. However, it got graded 1 point higher at a 67. So every grade point really matters. Once again, $204. This next one sold for $2,040. Now, why would a coin like this sell for so much more money than the previous two coins? This is exactly why. So as you can see, the condition of this coin is beautiful. It's got a very nice red color to it. Another thing to consider is the timing, when the coin is sold and who is bidding on these coins. All it takes is a few deep pockets to go after a coin like this, and then they will get into a bidding war to see who gets out on top. Eventually, someone is going to tap out and not bid anymore. Another thing to consider is the plus designation designation given on this 1972 coin. The plus sign does increase the value, and the plus grade means the coin is getting close to the next highest grade at a 68, but it's not quite there yet. It's a complete dice roll when it comes to knowing if you're going to get a plus designation like this person did, but what a nice payday. They turned a 1972 Denver issued coin into $2,040. Here's something you don't want to let slip by. It's a Philadelphia issued coin, and you can tell that because there is no mint mark below the date. Some coins will have a P mint mark, but typically a Philadelphia issued coin will have no mint mark. Some really nice doubling on this coin. So doubling happens when the die is accidentally doubled and then strikes the coin. Eventually, a quality manager will oversee and notice that the doubling is occurring, and they'll swap out the dies for new ones. You can see the doubling happening in God We Trust at the top, Liberty at the left, and the 1972 date at the bottom right. Obverse just means the front of the coin, reverse means the back, so this is a doubled die obverse coin that is really rare, really valuable. NGC graded it at a 65 mint state, and it sold for $720. Same thing here, guys, just a higher grade. It's a 1972 DDO, double die obverse. PC just graded it at a mint state 66, and it sold for $1,080. Moving on to a PC just graded mint state 67, it is a DDO 1972, and it sold for $2,640. What a crazy amount of money. All right, here we go, guys. We are moving into the proof coins. Proof coins are really nice, really beautiful coins. However, they don't always fetch a lot of money depending on the situation. This one got a proof 69. That is 1 point away from the perfect grade of 70. This San Francisco issued coin sold for $204. This next one is a proof DDO. The doubling is a bit harder to see on this one. However, the value is definitely still there. PC just graded this one at a proof 66, and it sold for $1,020. Now we're moving into the non-proof San Francisco issued coins. This one got graded by PCGS at a mint state 66, and it sold for $77. This is a 1972 San Francisco issued coin. NGC graded it at a mint state 67 plus, and it sold for $264. We do hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Make sure to get your free coin and currency ebook down below, and we will see you guys in the next one. In this video, we're going over heirs so rare they shouldn't exist, starting with this 1966 Roosevelt dime. This coin, this little baby coin, sold for $13,200. The reason is because it is a rare heir coin. It was overstruck on a 1962 D dime. This is a 90% silver coin, and at first glance you may not notice the issue going on here, especially on the back. There's not too much to see, but on the front you're going to start to see that 1962 on the right hand side of the coin, and you can see some of the outline of Roosevelt there. This is a big mistake, and it really should have never happened, and that is why it was able to sell on Stack's Bowers auctions for $13,200. Up next we have a coin that sold for $22,800. It's a 2000p Sacagawea dollar coin struck on a cent lanchet. This coin is incredibly rare and something that you never really see. So Sacagawea dollar coins alone are typically not worth much more than their face value of $1, but this coin weighs 2.5 grams, and it is just a really nice example of a coin that should not ever exist. Now you may be asking yourself, does something like this happen on purpose or on accident? And to be completely honest, it is too hard to say. Unless you were there at the time it was struck, nobody really knows if it was done on purpose or not. Now who knows, maybe there was a mint employee doing this on purpose and they have a whole handful of these coins they've been selling slowly over time. Nobody really knows. However, if someone was doing this on purpose, that is a big mistake, and they could get in a lot of trouble by doing so. So once again, this coin was accidentally struck on a penny planchet, and it sold for $22,800. Moving right along to a coin that sold for $40,800. This is an undated Roosevelt dime coin. Now looking at the back of the coin, everything looks pretty nice here. You know, there's a little bit of what looks like being worn down on the outside of the coin, but it's only when you flip it over to the other side, you can see there are two reverse dies that struck this coin. So this coin technically has no front. This would be a great coin to use in a coin match. You would always win if you picked reverse, because there is only the back of this coin. PC just graded this coin at a mint state 64, and it sold for $40,800. We're moving right along into this 1973 S Eisenhower dollar that was struck on a 22.5 gram copper nickel clad planchet. This one was graded by NGC at a mint state 67. This is one coin of just two known ever, So completely off the base here, guys. Make sure that if you have this Eisenhower dollar from 1973, you are weighing the coin, because the weight is the thing that you need to be paying attention to. Once again, $48,000. Here we have an 1887 Morgan dollar coin. It's a US coin, a very beautiful coin, and you can see right off the cuff, this is a 55% off center brockage coin. This is a big mistake by the US Mint and something you simply do not see that often. This coin was able to sell for a staggering $78,000. Now, looking at the back of this next coin, nothing would ever tell you that it sold for $192,000. This is a Sacagawea dollar coin. Very cool, very desirable type coin, and it's extraordinarily rare to see something like this. Typically, these coins, like I said, are worth only a few dollars at most over their face value, except this is a coin that was accidentally muled with a Washington quarter on the front. So you've got a dollar coin on the back and a 25-cent coin on the front. This is a huge mint mistake by whoever did this, and it sold for $192,000. Now, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to get your free Coiny Currency ebook down below, completely complimentary, and we will see you guys in the next video. He almost spent this $1 bill. It just sold for $6,600. In this video, we're going over some $1 bills that are incredibly rare and valuable, and they all sold on Stack's Bowers auctions online. These are all legitimate sales with genuine paper money. Stay tuned, let's hop into it with this first $1 bill from 1997. It is a choice uncirculated banknote, which means there's not a single fold on the bill, and someone turned $1 into 145 bucks. Up next, we have a very special type of note, and this one is not in as good of condition. It was at a very fine condition. That means there's a lot of folds on this bill. Keep in mind, the more folds on your bill, the less value it's going to bring. But there's a few things on this banknote you really need to pay attention to see if you have one of these really rare $1 bills. So first of all, this is a 1988 $1 bill, and this is what we call a web note. So to make a long story short, web notes are bills that were printed using a different printing process, similar to how they print newspaper done on one continuous roll. The US Bureau of Engraving and Printing thought that this style of printing paper money would be more efficient, but in the end, it caused more issues. So how do you know if you have a web note? Because this $1 bill sold for 432 bucks, which is a lot of money for a beat up bill like this. So the first thing you want to look at is Washington's portrait is going to be a bit more washed out. The next area that you can see is the front plate position is going to have only a number and not a number and a letter. The last and easiest spot to look at is going to be on the back of the bill. So the back plate position is going to be to the right of In God We Trust. If you have any one of these three indicators, that means you have a web note that is very rare and valuable. So please keep your eyes peeled for a web note. This one sold on Stack's Bowers auctions for 432 bucks. Holy smokes, look at this very beat up $1 bill from 1995. This is a PMG graded very fine 25 with a solid number 7 serial number. And something that not many people know about is actually looking on the bottom right hand side of this bill, you'll see the front plate position, and before that you're going to see a small FW. Now there's only two places in the whole United States that produces paper money. You've got Washington DC and Fort Worth, Texas. The FW means this bill is printed at the Fort Worth, Texas facility. If your banknote has no FW on it whatsoever, that means it was printed at the Washington DC facility. This banknote sold for $960 because it is a solid number 7 serial number. $1,762.50 this $1 bill sold for. It is a 1969 $1 bill from the Federal Reserve of Atlanta, Georgia. This one was graded by PMG at a about uncirculated 50 net because there is a little bit of minor rust on it. The rust will decrease the value of it a little bit, but this is what we call a 10 million serial number. You can see there's a 1 at the start of the serial number and a bunch of zeros after it. This banknote sold for $1,762.50. This is a very cool error, guys, and it sold for $3,737.50. This one is a 1981 $1 bill, and if you didn't know, the back of the bill is the first printing, the front of the bill is the second printing, and the third and final printing is the overprint, which you see on top of that obstruction. So the obstruction happened in between the second and the third printing. That is why if you were to peel up that little obstructed area at the top right, you would see no serial number underneath, but you would see the second print underneath that. Very cool, very desirable. Please, if you have an obstructed printing error like this, do not peel feel that piece off because you will be decreasing the value of the bill tremendously. This one sold for $3,737.50. $6,600. This 1999 $1 bill sold for PMG, graded it at a very fine 30. That means it's been in someone's pocket or wallet or purse for quite some time before someone decided to sell it. They realized that, hey, this is a serial number 1 bill, which is really rare, and it is a star note. That combination can be very valuable, especially in the higher grades. Unfortunately, this bill has quite a few folds on it, like I said before, but at the end of the day, something like this is going to bring tremendous value in the market. This one sold for $6,600. We do hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please get your free coin and currency ebook down below. You don't want to miss out on that, and we will see you in the next one. Here are the top 6 paper money errors hiding in plain sight. All of the bills that were sold in this video were done online through reputable auction houses like Heritage or Stack's Bowers. All of the bills are 100% genuine, and the sales were paid in full and finalized. We're going to start off with this first banknote. Now, this is a genuine $1 bill silver certificate, and you may be asking yourself, why is there a brown seal and serial numbers on this bill, and why does it say Hawaii on it? These paper money bills were issued during World War II after Pearl Harbor, December 7th of 1941, where the US had feared a Japanese invasion of Hawaii. So in 1942, the government issued Hawaii overprint notes to be used exclusively in Hawaii. The purpose? If Japan captured Hawaii, the US could declare all Hawaiian currency that was circulating as worthless money, which would limit economic sabotage. So typically you can pick up a bill like this for a few $100s, which is a lot of money for a $1 bill, but this one sold for $7,050 because of this pretty dramatic error. Now, I've personally handled a ton of these $1 bill Hawaii notes, and I've never seen one of these inverted overprints ever. So that just goes to show how rare a bill like this really is. So look on the back, you can see that Hawaii overprint is upside down. That is a big mistake there, and it is going to bring a lot of money in auction. This one, once again, sold for $7,050. $7,200 for this one. Now, this is what we call a Leppy press error. Essentially, the Federal Reserve has a machine called a Leppy press printing machine. It's a newer type of single note press introduced by the BEP in the 2010s. Leppy stands for Large Examining and Printing Equipment, and this is a single note sheet press, unlike traditional 32 subject or 50 subject sheet presses. Initially, it was used for $1 bills, but the Leppy press allows greater quality control, automation, and flexibility. However, on this bill, there was a mismatched serial number, and you can see that green rectangle block that is where the 1 should be. So this is a pretty big mistake, and that is why it sold for $7,200. 9,600 buckaroos for this 1935E silver certificate. So back in the day, you could take this $1 bill to your local bank and exchange it for equal value of silver. A few things going on here. Really cool bill. Now, it has multiple printings of the overprint. So that last printing is called the overprint, and it had multiple strikes happen to it. And you'll also notice this really long red rejection crayon that someone drew on there. This shows that a quality control manager did their job in the sense of they saw the error, they rejected it with a pen, but unfortunately the next step went wrong because they should have pulled this sheet and destroyed it because of the error, but that did not happen. So this $1 bill sold for $9,600. $16,800 for this 1995 $1 bill. This one got graded by PMG at a very fine 25. This is once again another type of mismatched serial number error. You can see the serial numbers just simply don't match each other at all, and that is why it's able to sell for so much money at $16,800. Up next, I'm going to show you the back of this bill first. It's a 1988 $1 bill that sold for $21,600. It is a nice looking back. Everything is good. You know, the centering of the margins is a bit off top to bottom, and like I said before, the back is the first print, and then when you flip it over to the front, that is going to be the second and third print. But you'll notice that something is really off. That is because there are multiple impressions on this bill. So what happened was the back got printed, the front got printed like normal, and there was accidentally an additional print run that ran through and printed the back on the front of the bill. Absolutely crazy, and something like this will bring dramatically tons and tons of money in the market. That is why it sold for $21,600. $24,000 for this $1 bill. So a few things going on with this bill. First of all, this is what we call a web note. So if you haven't watched our videos on web notes, I do recommend you to do it, but I'll give you a quick breakdown of what happened here. So essentially a web note is done by using a different printing style. The way you detect if you have a web note is by looking at the backplate position. Now the backplate position is going to be to the right of In God We Trust. Typically it is not in that position. It's going to be to the bottom right of 1 there. So the positioning is wrong. You know, that alone, the fact that it's a web note, makes this bill very valuable. Combine that with the fact that this is actually an error note. So the serial number is a big mistake here. The suffix, which is the last digit, is a star and the other one is an L. So this is a mismatched suffix letter error, and that is why it's sold for $24,000. We do hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to get your free coin and currency ebook down below, and we'll see you in the next video. Weirdest errors ever found on US currency. We're hopping into it, guys, with this first $10 bill. Looking at the back, you can see that the bill is quite off center, and then when you flip it over to the front, you can see that the overprint is inverted. That means it's upside down. So quite a big mistake on this 2017 $10 bill, and it sold for $5,760. Now this next one is pretty cool. It's a $20 bill, and the front looks pretty normal. You wouldn't know why it's over $6,600 until you flipped it over to the back and saw that this was an obstructed error and it was retained. So it's still there. You could peel that piece off and put it back on, but never throw away the obstruction because that will decrease its value. This is a very cool banknote that sold for $6,600. Up next, we have a $2 bill. While looking at the back of it, it looks pretty cut up, like someone just got some scissors and cut it off, but it's only when you flip it over to the front, you'll see that this is a printed fold over error. So it got folded and printed on, and if you're able to open it up, you can see that there's nothing underneath there except white paper. This is a very cool banknote and a great reason as to why not to encapsulate and grade your bills, because something like this could never be truly appreciated if you got it graded. Once again, this $2 bill sold for $9,600. Up next, we have another retained obstruction. These 3 bills sold for $14,100. This is a quite incredible retained obstruction printing error from 1988. They are $1 bills graded by PMG at an uncirculated 44, and once again, $14,100 it sold for. This is a very dramatic $10 bill that sold for $26,400. There is a double overprint error on this $10 bill. Highly collectible, highly sought after. This $10 bill, typically you're not going to see this big of a gap in the misalignment of that overprint. This one sold for $26,400. And here we are at my favorite type of error when it comes to paper money. This bill sold for $27,600. It is what we call a double denomination error. So the front is a $10 bill, the back is a $1 bill. You don't want to go to your bank and try to get $11 for this one because it sold for $27,600. We do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to grab your free coin and currency ebook down below, go ahead and do so, and we'll see you in the next one. You've been overlooking this $100 bill error for years. Very rare and very valuable $100 bills we're going over in this video. We're going to start off with this first bill. Now, looking at the back of it, you would have never known it sold for $1,380. It's a little bit off center, but nothing too crazy. It's only when you flip it over to the front, you can see that this is a type 2 inverted overprint. So the back is the first print, the front is the second print, and the third print is what you see here that's upside down. Something like this is very rare and valuable. You know, you can go to your local bank and get some $100 bills to flip through to see if you have something really rare like this, and then you can exchange them right back to the bank clerk and get your money back. That's a really cool way to spend your pastime looking through bills and coins and just looking for rare things that might be worth some money. This $100 bill once again sold for $1,380. Up next, we have a cool bill from 1928. This is the first year of issue for the small size paper money bills like this. So what makes this bill really rare is the fact that it's a numeral type. So that number 12 on the left hand side in the big black bold ink, typically that is a letter and not a number. But if you see a number there like this one, you have a numeral type bill. Combine that with the fact that it is a star note. Star notes are rare and valuable, but if you're looking at the bottom left star, you can see the star looks normal. The top right star is the one we want to look at though, because that one is inverted. This is an inverted star error note, and typically this bill wouldn't be worth as much money, but that inverted star made it sell for $2,040. Here's a more rare and modern bill. It's a 2009 $100 bill, and this has a pretty severe cutting error. You can see the top portion of this $100 bill is still there. This is a big mistake, guys. Someone found this bill and sold it for $2,040. When we're looking at the front of this $100 bill, everything looks normal. You'd have no idea why it sold for $2,280. Everything looks fine. It's only when you flip it over to the back, you can see the back is inverted, upside down. Oops, that's a big mistake there by whoever did this bill. It sold for $2,280, $5,040 for this $100 bill from 1990. It's going to be pretty obvious what's going on here. This is one of my least favorite types of bills because it's not that cool, and the reason why it's not cool is because someone could possibly get a sheet of these bills and cut it themselves. Now that is very likely not what happened here because it was graded by PMG, and they're a third-party grading and authentication company who take full ownership if they make a mistake. If they were to grade a bill that is not a genuine error, they would have to buy it back and give you the money for it. So this cutting error sold for $5,040. We do hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Make sure to get your free coin and currency ebook down below, and we'll see you in the next video.